Another question that people ask is, especially those that are creating their own packages, right? So they're not really going with a package or with an agency. They're just kind of doing their own thing. Should I do Mecca first or should I do Medina first? Obviously, there's a price factor, right? Depending on how much money you're willing to spend, because technically you're leaving from one place and arriving in a different airport. So that also has a factor within price. So you want to keep in mind that depending on how much money you spend, you may decide where to land first or where to leave from. Now, what I personally advise people to do and what I personally prefer is that you actually do Medina first and then Mecca second for several reasons. Number one is your Umrah is the highlight of the trip, right? That's really the place you're going to is to do Umrah, and Umrah happens in Mecca. Now, I want you to imagine traveling for 12 hours. Sometimes there's a layover, so it's a little bit longer than that. It takes you a couple of hours before, a couple of hours after. So you've been on the road for close to 20 hours, sometimes 24 hours, and you're pretty tired. Now, imagine going there and doing the Umrah right immediately at there because you do the Umrah right away. It can be really tiring, right? It can be very, very draining. So being in Medina first, you're actually able to rest, spiritually recharge, prepare your heart and your mind and your body to go to Mecca, and boom, then you go to attend the Umrah when you transfer from Medina to Mecca. So that's really the biggest reason that I tell a lot of people to stop in Medina first before they go to Mecca. Secondly is you have to wear your ihram. Your ihram is basically your Umrah sacred clothing. And basically there are two pieces with nothing else. So you have a piece on top and a piece at the bottom for nothing else, right? And then you have to shower before, and there are certain preparations that we discuss while we're on the trip. I want you to imagine doing this either on an airplane, if you're landing directly in Jeddah, close to Mecca, or in a layover somewhere like in Istanbul or in Jordan or in Egypt or whatever the airlines you are taking. It can be really uncomfortable for a lot of people. Rather, you land in Medina first, and whatever clothes you are wearing, you're spending 4 days in Medina, you shower, you change, and then before you move from Medina to Mecca, you're able to be kind of ready with your ihram, and then you go to Mecca right away. It's about a 4-hour drive or so, and then boom, you do your Umrah. You're a lot more spiritually prepared, but logistically just a little bit better. Number three is I like to end in Mecca because it's just a high note. Obviously, everybody knows that there's more reward in Mecca than Medina, right? For prayers and dua and so on and so forth. So as you're staying in Mecca, you want to make sure that you leave the trip on a very, very high note. And that's something obviously that we aim to do, and that's why I prefer that we go to Medina first and then Mecca. But obviously there's pros and cons in either way.